Good morning, people. It's Thursday. Thursday's devotion, and we're talking about the characteristics of being a citizen of heaven. Spoken about the characteristic of conduct. They will know that we're Christians because we behave differently. We've spoken about the difference of the way we communicate, the way of our conversation. We should clean up our act there. Don't let any rubbish come out of your mouth. We've spoken about they will know we're Christians when we are united, and as a united front are contending for a particular cause. They will know we're believers by that. But in this passage, it goes on to say that we will know we are Christians because not only are we contending for another cause, but we are doing it without fear. Let me read this section to you. Then, whether I come and see you or only hear about you in my absence, I will know that you stand firm. It's good terminology. Soldiers standing firm in one spirit, with one contending as one man for the faith of the gospel, without being frightened in any way by those who oppose you. You see, the second characteristic after unity is fearlessness. What are we going to fear, people? I know we may fear certain consequences of certain things, but what do we have to fear at the end of the day? We have nothing to fear because we have a God who will draw near in those departing hours of our lives. As people who have stood for Christ, there is a glory in moving from this life to the next. We have nothing to fear. The only thing we have to fear at the end of the day is really disappointing God, and God loves us so much. And yet in our hearts we will do so much better if we realize that in order to contend for the cause of Christ, I need to clean up my conversation. I need to reflect God's image in me as the world can see that this is what being a person of the citizenship of heaven looks like. But it's this fearlessness that we're talking about right now. And it's a beautiful thing because there's great encouragement that comes because of the fact that God being with us makes all of the difference. Just have a look at some of the fearless people that we see them in scriptures. Have a look at Daniel in the lion's den. Daniel facing the lion, had no fear. How does he get that? Where did David get the fearlessness of standing in front of Goliath and standing and putting his finger in that man's face and saying, I'm going to take you out. I have no fear of you. Sure, you're 20 times my size. You're a skilled soldier. You've killed many, many people. But I have God with me. I stand fearless before you. So it's this fearless in the face of many things. But sometimes fearless in the face of other things, like fearless in the face of suffering. A lot of people suffering around at the moment. A lot of people suffering because of Corona. A lot of people suffering because of the economy. I want to encourage you people. I know it's tough. But do not go into this with fear. Stand with confidence. Look into the face of the things that cause you to suffer. Look into the face of the things that cause you to think, wow, am I going to make it? Of course you're going to make it. One way or the other, God is going to help you through this thing. It does something for us too, that we don't live in the most comfortable of times because comfort makes us very complacent. And when we have complacency, then the body becomes bored, the body becomes overweight, and the body begins to argue about the stupidest of stupid things. And so contention is sometimes a good thing. We are in a fight. We are contending for the cause. Now, I'm not talking about a militant fight. I'm talking about the fight that is to love one another, the fight that is to put up with people who we disagree with, people who maybe we don't see eye to eye with. We will contend side to side with people like that as long as we all have the same cause for His glory. Now, this fear thing, fear can actually have, fear in the positive sense of the word, can weed out a lot of superficial people. Fear brings us together, which is awesome. Do you remember a while back, there were those kids that were caught in that cave? I think it was in Thailand. A whole bunch of kids were in this cave, and people searched for them. And they found these kids, and after a period of time, it was the greatest story. I'm sure going to be a movie made about this thing, how they managed to rescue these 20-something kids from the cave. And these are children. These are young teens. And they interviewed these kids, and they said, how did you face the fear? And they looked and said, what do you mean? We were together. We faced the fear. I was not alone. I had 19, 20-something other people with me facing the same fear. You see, unity, as we spoke about yesterday, is the first prerequisite to being able to face your fear. You don't face it alone. We face it together. And we have God with us. We're a strong team when we face fear in that sense of the word. And these young people, they said, we had one another. We were strong because we were united, despite the naysayers, despite the situation that looked like it was not going to happen, looked like we were all going to die. We were together with the same cause. Something happens where fearlessness comes out of a united front of people sharing the same cause. It strengthens your faith. Because if there's something to be fearful about, then it means that there's a test around the corner. And God doesn't test us just to test us. He tests us to stretch our faith and to create greater character in us. Don't run from tests. Face them. And as we face our fears, we will begin to realize we are a lot stronger than we appear to be. And God will smile and say, yes, guys, do not fear this test. Do not fear the fire that you're going to be going through. Do not live in fear, because the thing that you fear will ultimately get you if you let it. So fear is worse than the circumstances that you fear. So do not fear, people. Stand together with others. Contend for the same cause, as we said yesterday. And it serves for others to see a testimony of ourselves. Now, of what a Christian should be. Here's a great illustration to close with. Romans 16 speaks of a guy by the name of Rufus. Now, Rufus, we are told, would have been the son or maybe the grandson of Simon of Cyrene, who carried Jesus' cross. Simon of Cyrene did not want to contend that day. He wanted to run. But he was forced into carrying the cross of Christ, and he carried the highest privilege. And this young son or grandson would have looked at his dad and he would say, Dad, that was awesome. That was incredible. You faced your fear. You grabbed that cross and you helped Jesus carry the cross. And now, because of what you did, I want to walk like you have walked. I too want to share in the cross of Christ. I too want to contend for the cause of Christ. He saw his dad do it. You want to leave a good legacy behind you, older men. Let them see you carrying the cross of Christ. Let them see you getting under the burden that Jesus has to carry. Share his burden with and leave a great cause. No evangelist came to Rufus. He didn't go to Bible study one day and he told the 4 spiritual laws. He saw it in his father. And he said, man, if that's what it means to contend for the cause of Christ, I am in. I saw my dad stand against the fear. I saw him stand, even though he stood at that case alone. There was no one else standing with him other than Jesus. So when we stand with Jesus to contend for the cause of Christ, there will be no fear. And when we do it together, even better, even better. Guys, go and have a fantastic day. God bless you. Cheers.